guys, what is up? So I wanted to do a little reading update, maybe, because it's not quite a reading wrap up because it's not the end of the month yet, so I'm not completely finished. But when I wait till I'm done, I start to forget things, or it's too overwhelming to try to think of what all my thoughts are on all the books. And quite frankly, I don't really even do monthly wrap ups because I don't read fast enough. So I normally just do maybe seasonal or quarterly wrap ups. So it's not quite a wrap up, just a reading update. And I got some bookish purchases that I wanted to show anyways, just because I'm really excited about them. They're just small, little, simple things that I just thought were a neat idea. And so I wanted to show those. So my bookshelf has far more unread books on it than read books. So normally, like, I keep on the top of my shelf the books that I have read this year and the previous year, and I just keep them up there because I like to kind of just have a quick view of like my reading progress. I don't know, it's just really satisfying for me to look over and be like, oh yeah, those are the books that I've read this year, just to be able to constantly see them and have that reminder of them, or even maybe feel a little bit of satisfaction on any type of progress I have when I do read a book from my physical TBR. So I keep them at the top. But when I start a new year, then not the previous year, but the year before that, I put them back on my regular shelves. But since I am trying to keep up with my never-ending unread physical TBR, I have, when I put the read books back on my bookshelf, since they are far less than my unread books, then I've been turning them backwards so that like they don't even register. I'm not looking at them. I feel, it makes me feel like a little bit of, okay, so I can focus only on the unread books instead of just looking at all my books. And then, I don't know, it makes sense to me that it'll just be overwhelming. I don't know, it's not overwhelming, but in my head, it makes sense to me to do it that way. So I've been turning them backwards so that I know, oh, those are red, don't even look at those. Well, then my daughter Kaylee said that you should get like those tiny little star stickers and put those on the spine so that instead of turning them backwards, you'll see when you see the stars that you'll know that they're red, but also just glimpsing at it, you can see like if you gave that book 5 stars or 4 stars or 3 stars or blah, blah, blah. And I really liked that idea. I thought that was super cute. I'm still going to put them on my shelves backwards just for the satisfaction of seeing that those are red, so I don't have to worry about those. But I am putting the star so that at any time that I glance at that book, I can see, oh yeah, I gave that one. And like my currently being read books, or like my finished books from this year and last year, are still at the top, and I can see those spines. I don't turn those backwards since they're at the top and separated anyways. I can see those spines and see the stars. So I thought that was a really cute idea. So these are the stars I got. I got them off of Amazon, and it was like, I don't know, maybe $6 for a whole pack of like 1,500 stars. I will say they are tiny, and when you have nails on, it is like really almost impossible to place the stars on the spine evenly. So I lose a lot of stars. Like, I've randomly just keep finding star stickers because I kept dropping them. Like, see, there's one on my foot right now. I keep dropping them, and then they're so small that it's hard to find when I drop them. Oh, it won't come off my foot either. It's really stuck on there. There it goes. I mean, not my foot, my slipper. So yeah, they're so tiny that once I drop them, I like can't even find them. So they're everywhere. I found one on my jacket, now on my slipper. But these are the stars that I got. You can get them in like all kinds of colors, all different types of packs. And this one I think was like 1,500. And I'm a slow reader, so these are gonna last me forever. And I feel like my most common rating that I give anyways is 3 stars. But yeah, so they're gonna last. I feel like they're gonna last forever. Watch me be wrong and they go by faster than I thought. But anyway, so to give a reading update and to show, now I don't know yet a system of where I want to put them on the spine, because you know, every book's spine looks completely different, and sometimes they have like cute little illustrations on them, and I don't want to cover them up, or I don't want to cover the title up or the author's name up. So I don't have like a uniform system of where I'm putting the stickers on the spine. I'm just kind of like putting them anywhere I can fit them. And then it kind of is dependent on the layout of the spine, if it's like vertical versus horizontal. So like this one is a vertical spine, but then this one is horizontal. So I don't know. It's like hard to figure out a system, but I have started with the stars on the spine, if you can see that. And I really am liking it so much. So that's cute. So that was the first like tiny little, not book purchase, but bookish purchase that I've gotten. So it was these little star stickers, and I'm excited about that. The other one is, so I used to not have a problem, or last year when I was annotating, I was just highlighting in the book. Like I would buy highlighters that kind of like match the book, and then tabs that match the book. And to me, it was this really fun experience to just tab and annotate and highlight in my books and kind of turn my books into like my own personal kind of journal on that story. So I didn't care about marking in the books and highlighting in that. And then I started to care because I ended up deciding that I didn't like books afterwards and then giving them away. And then I feel bad if I've like marked in it. Verity was one of them. But in Verity, I did end up writing it on a clear Post-it. So I just had to go through the book and like take those Post-its off. But I was highlighting on the Post-its, and sometimes it rubs off and transfers off. So I still want to be able to annotate and have fun doing that, but I don't want to mark in them because I don't know sometimes if I'm actually going to change my mind and not want to keep that book and get rid of it, and I feel bad that I've marked into it. If it's a book I'm going to keep, I don't feel bad because I do feel like those are my books, so those are my thoughts. It's my journal of that book, and I don't feel as bad. But sometimes when there's special editions and then I end up not liking the special edition, so I might as well try to sell it, I feel like then I would feel bad. But also, if it's a special edition that I want to keep, I don't know if later on I will regret that I've marked in the book because it was a special edition and then I wanted to keep it nice and I ended up marking in it. So anyways, so I'm still going to do the annotations. I'm still going to do on the clear Post-its. And then I did get like highlighter sticky tabs to highlight in the books, but it just sucks because it's like a one length thing. So sometimes, you know, when you get to a certain line, it's not like the whole line. So then I'm like highlighting. Anyways, dumb little nitpicky things. But also this only comes in like neon colors. And so I ended up getting some highlighter tape that now is in like different muted colors. Is kind of more my thing than like the neon colors. So I'm excited about that so that I can highlight without marking in my book. Well, I'm still going to use this for annotations, but I like that now I can highlight in my book without marking. I think I used it in this book. If I can, but yeah, so this is like the highlight tape that I used so that I could take it out if I want to and not have it in there anymore, and it peels right off. The only thing is that I have to have scissors with this one since it doesn't come on like a tape dispenser, but I saw that you can get like washi tape dispensers and that has like a cutter edge on it. So I think I'm going to get that and then just put these on those so that I don't have to have scissors. But so I have like my little pouch for when I'm going to annotate, and then it's got like multicolored ballpoint pens so that it doesn't leak or rub off as bad as like my, whatever you call like the pretty ink pens that smudge too much. And then I put like my tabs in here. And then I just got to get either a tape dispenser or like small scissors to keep with that. But so I made this kind of like little annotation pouch that I'm kind of a little excited about so that it's all in one place. And that's all for like new like little bookish things that I got that have made me excited. And I look forward to trying those. Okay, so I got this drink and I'm gonna try it for the first time. It is strawberry cream infused super seltzer. So it's got 100 milligrams of caffeine, but it's got like all these other vitamins. So it's got vitamin D, calcium, niacin, vitamin B6, vitamin B12, biotin, collagen. I don't know what HMB is, but it's got HMB. But it says that, so HMB promotes lean muscle mass and metabolism. Vitamin D3 supports bone health. Vitamin B complex increases energy and supports memory. And then the collagen is to support joint, hair, skin, and nail health. So let's see if this is any good. It's strawberry cream, and I really like Alani Nu's pink slush. That's like my favorite. Well, Witch's Brew is my favorite, but besides that, then it's the pink slush, and that's like a strawberry cream. So I'm kind of excited, but then kind of nervous because it's got all this other stuff, so I feel like it's not gonna taste good. But let's see. It's called I don't know what the title is. NSO1 Super Nirvana, maybe? I don't know. It's got like lots to the title. I got a GNC. So let's see. I hope I don't break my nail. That is not at all like pink slush. That's pretty gross. It's pretty gross, but it's $3. I'm gonna drink it. Oh. Oh, maybe. Ooh, it keeps kicking. Maybe it gets better as you drink it. I don't know. Okay, so that was it for the bookish. Oh. That was it for the like little bookish items that I purchased. Now for my reading updates so far. So the first book that I finished, I read the majority of this. I read the majority of this in January, but I didn't finish it until like the first couple of days of February. And that is Icebreaker by Hannah Grace. So I am not a big spice person, but I will say I didn't think that I was into spice because any books that I read that had spice, that was like all that the book had. It was just, I feel like, a collection of different spicy scenes, but nothing much was going on with the story. There wasn't much to the plot, or the plot was like really cheesy, or the characters didn't have much to them, or there wasn't much chemistry, not chemistry, because there's obviously chemistry, but there wasn't much to the buildup of the romance. It was just like spice and lust and nothing really deeper than that, or it was really cheesy, or I don't know, characters were one-dimensional. But those are the experiences that I had with spice, and so I thought that I'm not a big spice person. So then when this book became really popular, I wasn't interested in it. I didn't realize how spicy it was. I just knew that it was like this spicy romance book, so I wasn't into it. Fairy Loot had sent me this on accident, and they said, if you got one by accident, don't worry about it. We will fix the order and send you what you were supposed to get, but you can keep these books on us. You don't have to send them back. So then I figured, I'm going to give it a try then. If I've got the book for free anyways, no harm, no foul. I'm not losing anything from it if I don't like it, because I didn't pay for the book, which I will say the deluxe edition now that's like just in stores regularly, I think that edition is so beautiful, and I want that. I like that one far more than this one because I'm just not a big fan. This one's not as bad, but I'm not a big fan of people on the cover, so I really like that edition better. I'll pop it on the screen, but I really like this edition better than this one. But I already own this one, even though I didn't purchase it, so I'm not going to purchase another edition of a book that's like not my favorite or anything. So I'm just going to stick with this one, although I saw that they're doing it for Wildfire coming up, and I really like it. And so I want it. But regardless, so I might, when they come out with Daydream though, or whatever the third one's called, I might get that one because the one I have is just this regular paperback. So I might get that one since, regardless. So I read this one in January, mostly in January, a couple days of February, and it took me a lot to get through it, but it's a lot bigger than it looks. So this book looks tiny, but it is 430 pages. So looks are a little bit deceiving. I feel like it looks a lot smaller than 430 pages. And I feel like 430 pages is a bit much for a romance. Like I feel like I'm good at 300 pages for a romance, but so it's 430 pages. So it took me a little bit longer to get through it because I wasn't excited about reading it. And but I didn't not enjoy it either. I did enjoy what I was reading. I don't know. So it's not anything that I feel like I would recommend to anybody. It's not something that's like my preference. But after reading it, I really kind of liked, I'm a sucker for found family, and I feel like there was a lot of that with the hockey team, at least the portion of the hockey team that, is it Nate? What's his name? Nate lives with, and especially I think his name was Henry. Henry was my favorite. Henry's like this golden retriever character, and I really liked him. So I felt like it had like this found family dynamic to it, and I really like that. And I also liked that, so the spice was spicing. It was very spicy. This is a very descriptive, spicy book, and that was a lot. But I feel like the spice wasn't the only thing that the book had going for it, that there were these deeper relationships and connections, not just like between the main two characters, but amongst all the characters. There were these connections and these relationships, and I really enjoyed that. And there was still this plot to it. I mean, it wasn't like a really, I mean, there was a lot that was being said. There was a lot to overcome. There was, their own personal issues and past trauma that they dealt with. There was like a really intense moment that happens in the book too, and I liked that. There was more than just the spice and just the lust and just the sex scene. So I did like all of those aspects, and I think that is what continued me through versus if it had just been spice alone, or if it had just been like insta love, then I don't think I would have gone through with it. And then and I liked like most of all of the supporting characters. Most of all, I enjoyed most of the supporting characters in the story too, and I felt like that kept me going too, that I didn't need just the main two characters to keep me into the story. Like I was fine reading about these other characters too. So I did enjoy it. I gave it 3 stars. See my little star stickers? I gave it 3 stars. I'm not saying I would never read it again, but it's not like something that I'm itching to get to for a reread. I might, if I was in the mood, pick it up again. I'm not saying that this is a book that I would never reread. I have had books that I've read before and enjoyed, but said, oh, I don't think I'll ever pick that up again, so I'm going to get rid of it. So this one, I would maybe possibly read it again. It's just not going to be anytime soon. And she is really pretty. I do like the color scheme of it. And there are the edges, and then the character art on the inside I really did enjoy. I think it's the same front and back. Yeah, I did enjoy. There's not a reverse, no. The inside character art, I'm just not crazy about this cover or the character art on this cover, but it's still a really pretty edition of the book. And the naked cover is cute too, although I never leave it naked since it's white, but it's still cute. And I like how you can see his name on his jersey. That's a cute little touch. My book was a little damaged. It was like missing a chunk here, and then later on I found it like stuck in this like little messed up corner here, but it was free. So I am not going to complain about a little corner piece of a free book that is missing. I just mention it because that's how I received the book. So it didn't look like I did that. But anyways, so this is a book. Oh, and then the deluxe edition, like the regular store deluxe edition, I know it's a hardcover, but it's like really floppy. Like the pages are really floppy. I think it's because it's like a little bit taller of a book, but I just really like that edition. But again, it's not a favorite, and it's not even like my go-to genre. I'm not going to purchase it. But oh, and then the little skates on the back are cute. But so that was the first book that I finished for the year, and it was a 3-star. The next book that I finished, let me tell you, the next book that I finished destroyed me. It left me damaged, and I do own 2 copies of this because I have the regular paperback. It's on my desk. I don't feel like getting it. The regular paperback version of this book, but the collector's edition came out and it was too damn breathtaking for me not to get this book. Look at her. She is just perfection to me, and I love it. And then the end pages are the same front and back, but perfect. And then comes with this ribbon bookmark. I don't know if I got it in a certain spot, but absolutely perfection. I am not going to annotate this version because she's so perfect, so I'm going to annotate the paperback. But like, I saw this idea where people like, it's kind of like a circle journal where, you know, if you had a scrapbook and everybody gets their own scrapbook and you come out with a layout and you talk about whatever you want to journal, and then you do your layout and then you send it to the next person and everybody sends it, so that at the end, everybody comes up with a scrapbook or a journal, and each person had made a layout and created a layout for whatever topic that your journal was in. So I saw that somebody had the same idea, but with books. So you get a group of friends and everybody picks out their favorite paperback. Well, it was paperbacks, but I guess you could do whatever book you want, whatever format you want. But everybody would pick a book, and you would read it, you would annotate it, you would put your key in the front and label your key, and then you would send it off to the next person, and then they would annotate it and they would put their key and label their key like with their name on it. And you would just all like be able to read the story, but be able to read each other's like annotation and comments. And then at the end, when they all go back to where they're supposed to be, everybody had the reading experience of all the books and reading each other's annotations, but you end up with the book that you picked to, you know, keep for yourself with everybody's annotations. And I really like that idea. So with my paperback, I'm going to annotate that one, and then I'm going to give it to my oldest, Madison, to read and annotate. I'm still contemplating on, or debating, or thinking about if I should give it to Kaylee to read, just because it has some hard-hitting topics in it, or not topics, but you know, it's a sad book, and Kaylee has struggled with depression in the past, so I just don't want to give her anything to read that could be triggering. So I don't know if I will, and Kaylee's 18, so I don't know. I mean, I guess that's old enough, but to me, she's still my child. I mean, they're both my children, but Madison's 21, so and off in college. So I feel like I'm a little bit less leery of her to read it, but then, you know, Kaylee's still in high school and still developing emotionally, so I don't know if I want her to read it yet. I don't know. I'm still up in the air about it. It's a really good book, though, but I'm going to start off with me and Madison and then see where I fall, and maybe get Madison's opinion on if Kaylee should do it with us. But so this copy I did not annotate. I'm not going to mark in it. I will do the paperback version, but this book, it was a 5-star. There's my stars. It was a 5-star, and because when I give a 5-star, it's about like how much did the book affect me, and how much do I think about the book once I've finished reading it. Because sometimes books, I will read them and then I will immediately forget them a couple days later, or forget my thoughts and ideas on the book. Maybe not necessarily the book, but just like my opinion or my feelings on the book. And when it impacts me more than that, that I can't stop thinking about it, to me, that's an indicator that it's a 5-star read. So I gave this book a 5-star. It might not like have the best plot. It might not have the best writing. It is really good writing. I do enjoy her writing a lot. It affected me quite a bit and impacted me and really got to my emotions. So to me, that was a 5-star. And this is a book that I could see myself making the time to reread every year. There's only like a couple books that I feel that way. I definitely feel that way about The 7 Year Slip, and now I feel that way about this book. I can't think of another one off the top of my head. These are books that I feel like I would definitely reach for more often to reread, and that to me is another sign that it's a 5-star. And so I absolutely loved this book. I didn't go over what the books were about. So with Icebreaker, this book, I'm sure everybody knows about it, but it's a sports romance, and it is about a hockey player and a figure skater. So the figure skater, they're both, she's trying to qualify for finals or something. I can't remember what it is that she's qualifying for, but she's trying to qualify, and then something happens where like the rival team of the hockey team trashes one of the rinks, and it's the rink that the ice skaters practice on. So then now they are forced to share the rink with the hockey team, and so that's how like the kind of the relationship begins with them. And so she's already really annoyed with the hockey team, annoyed that that's how like now it's going to affect her ice time, how much time she gets on the ice to prepare for finals. But then not only that, then something ends up happening where her partner gets injured. And so since her partner gets injured, the partner tells everyone that the reason why he got injured is because of Nate. And so then that creates tension between them two. But now she's limited on ice time, and then now she doesn't have a partner. Well, since Nate gets blamed for I think his name is Aaron, the ice skater, the partner's injury, then the sports athletic director at the school says that as long as Aaron can't skate, then Nate can't play hockey. So then since she's out of a partner and he can't play hockey, he agrees, or he volunteers to be her partner so that she can still skate and still qualify for finals and still train with someone. So then he becomes her partner. And obviously there's like the sexual tension between them. I mean, at first it is kind of just like this back and forth banter of kind of like flirty shit talking kind of deal going on between them. But then like this romance starts to blossom between them, but also this relationship that she starts to form, or this bond she starts to form with like the whole hockey team happens. No spoilers, but just how she deals with still qualifying for finals, if she's going to get her partner back, and the hockey team and how they're going to do with their games. And she goes to therapy for things that she's dealing with, and like, you know, trying to make sure that she is, because she's kind of like this very type A personality. So she has to always be in control of all of these things that are not in her control all the time. And so how she deals with that. So it kind of reminded me a little bit of like an Abby Jimenez, not just loosely saying, where there were these deeper hitting topics that were also discussed, where it's not just about the romance or just about the smut, or there's these deeper topics that they hit on too. And so I feel like that's why I liked it. But that is loosely what this book is about. Then with this one, the next one was If He Had Been With Me by Laura Nallen, maybe. And with this one, it's about these two childhood best friends, but as commonly you see in stories, or maybe you've even, you know, experienced in real life, that when you are childhood best friends, as you grow and you know, get into like school politics and groups and things, that you have a tendency to not always stay best friends with that childhood best friend, and you start to grow apart. So then that's what happens between these two characters, Finney and Autumn. So that's what happens between Autumn and Finney. They were childhood best friends. Their mothers are best friends. They are also next door neighbors. But then as just time goes on and they go through school and they go through middle school, they just grow apart and they're no longer best friends, and they're in different cliques and groups and things. And Autumn's kind of more of this rebel type of person, and Finney is like the popular athlete type of kid. So they end up in different groups, different friends, and then that kind of pulls them apart too. But then, and they're in these different serious relationships, but they can't fight it. And they don't realize, I guess Autumn doesn't realize that she's fighting it, but they can no longer fight their feelings. So then they end up discovering that they are in love with each other and that they were each other's first love. I don't know how much is like already known about the book and then how much is like a spoiler, but the back of the book says, "Stay," I whispered to him, "stay in the car, stay in this moment." But of course, he never does. And this book was really heartbreaking, and the writing is just like so full of emotion. It's like very raw with emotion. So I don't know if it's necessarily like lyrical with the words, but it is definitely very raw, I feel. It was a really good book. It will tear you apart, but almost because you already know what's going to happen. I don't know if that makes it easier or not, because I feel like since it's referenced in the beginning of the book, like you're just constantly wondering, so what happens? Where does it happen? Is this where it happens? How's it going to happen? I don't know. So I don't feel like that makes it any easier. It just kind of makes you dread it, because the more you start to learn their story, know their story, and get involved in their feelings, you're like, oh no, I don't want to be so invested when I already know what's going to happen. So it is good. It is wonderful. This is a very heart-wrenching story, and it's really good. And it kind of left me with the "You've Reached Sam" vibes, I guess, kind of. Not really. I don't know. It's kind of along those heartstrings for me. So this one was a 5-star. That was my second finish. This is my second finish of February. And then I went on to read. So Madison, Kaylee, and I went, when Madison came home for winter break, we went to go see Wicked. And I've had Wicked forever and have never read it. I've never seen Wicked. I've never seen any of the musicals, anyway, so I've got these bruises all over my body, and I don't know if I should be concerned about that. But anyway, so I've never seen Wicked until this most recent movie, and then I've always had the book. So then I was intrigued and decided to read it. It was not part of my February TBR, and I read it anyways, and I loved it. And I gave it 5 stars because I loved the writing in this book because of it's very clever. It's very funny. It's very clever, and you don't ever know what is literal and what is not. It's like everything that happens in it is like kind of like so animated that you don't know, like, is that being literal or is that figuratively speaking? And then a lot of it, you kind of have to read between the lines of what they're saying. So they're saying one thing, but it's like really heavy emphasis on read between the lines here, though. And I loved that. I absolutely loved like what could possibly go over your head if you're not focusing on reading in between the lines. But also, this book is devastating. Like the loss that you go through is devastating. And then you're kind of just like wondering. So it's way different from the movie. I don't know if that's already like commonly known, because again, I've never seen Broadway. I've never seen anything to do with Wicked. But it is completely different from the book, and so much is changed from the book. But the movie is what made me want to see it, because I love a love triangle. I'm a sucker for a love triangle. And so that made me read it, but there's no love triangle in the book. That was more just emphasized in the movie. I also really, really don't like Galinda in the book. And in the movie, she was kind of like, at first you don't like her, but then she's kind of enduring. And then their friendship like really is what draws you into feeling anything for her. That's not in the book. Like that friendship, that heavy, deep friendship from the movie is not in the book. So that was a little bit sad that wasn't as emphasized in here. But again, I don't know, since I've only seen, part 1 of the movie, I don't know where they're going to go with Elfie's love story, but they do go into it in this book. So then that was kind of heartbreaking too. But I really loved the writing in this, and I really loved like the humor and the sarcasm and kind of having to like read between the lines. I found that amazing. I absolutely loved that. And so I only own the first book, but now I really want to get the series, but it's like they redid there's so many versions of the cover of this book, but the box set that they have, I like those covers too, but I really like mine better. I like how, like, I don't know, how muted, and I don't know how the art style looks like so much from the time frame of when this book came out. And I really, really enjoy that. Whereas, like, the box set now, it has very bright and lively and bold colors and very, like, contemporary looking art. And so I really like this version better. But, like, anytime I try to, like, look for the books that match this, they're like $28 for it, and I can get, like, the whole box set for like $50. So I might just break down and get the box set and just have this one not match the rest. But I like it so much that now I want to get the box set and continue the series, because this was a great read for me. And in fact, I have 2 5-star reads, and I feel like this one was a lot more enjoyable than I thought it was, and it would have been a higher rating if romance and spice was like my genre. I would have liked this even more. So I had a really good reading month so far. So that was the third book that I finished in February. And then the most recent one I just finished is The Dead Romantics. I've had this book forever, and I just was never into picking up and reading it. And in fact, last year in March, it was our book club pick, and I still didn't get to it. I mean, I tabbed, so I read this much of it for the book club last year and never got any further than that. And I read this, and then I read The 7-Year Slip, and that was my all-time favorite book. Like, there's not a day that goes by that I don't think of that book. That is like one of my top tier favorite books, and I absolutely loved it. And you would think that that would push me to then go read all of the books that of hers that I owned, and I still didn't. And the only reason I don't even know why I read this, because this wasn't on my TBR for this month either, and I just ended up picking it up. But I loved it. I loved it so much. So the first half that I'm reading the book, when I'm getting through it, I'm like, I just kept comparing it to The 7-Year Slip. And I hate when I compare books, because that's when I don't have as much. That's when I don't enjoy it as much, because I'm too busy like comparing or trying to have one book measure up to another. And I shouldn't do that, because I never end up enjoying whenever I'm comparing, instead of just going along with the ride of that book. So the first half of this, I wasn't enjoying it as much, and I wasn't, because like The 7-Year Slip had me, like, I feel like right away in that very first run-in, when she's like at the restaurant or whatever. Can't even remember when he says, does he say lemon or clementine or something? And she doesn't, I think he says lemon, and she doesn't even realize that he's talking to her, because she hasn't met him yet, so she doesn't realize. So right from that first run-in, it had me hook, line, and sinker. And this one, it didn't have me right away. The first half of the book, I just kept comparing it. I wasn't enjoying it as much. And then it really got me. Like, this moment that I highlighted, I said, it says, small moments you catch and keep in glass jars like fireflies, or you let go. I couldn't catch this moment. I couldn't keep it. I couldn't keep him. And this book was gut-wrenching too. There was like a moment where I'm at the gym on the treadmill listening to it, and my jaw just dropped open from this, like, I'm not going to say what it is, but just like this aha moment. Like, you kept getting these little hints, and you kind of like already guessed what it was going to be. But then once it hit, and it wasn't just what you were thinking. It's like the whole impact of that whole moment and what all of those things meant. The fact that I can't even say it without giving away, so I can't say too much. But when those little hints that you were keep giving that had you guess, when the actual moment comes, and what you were guessing was like the small little morsel of it that was like what you thought was the main thing, and it wasn't. Like, the whole big picture, like, was so much more impactful emotionally than what you thought it was going to be, like when you were predicting it, versus when the moment hits and how hard it hits was more than I thought it was going to be. And so I'm like on the treadmill, and my jaw is just dropped. And then like I was tearing up in the moment. I was tearing up, and I was tearing up. Like, I can't say too much without giving it away, because I feel like it's not as impactful if I talk about it before you read it. So I'm not going to say, but it's a 5-star, and I think that it's going to be a top 10 of the year. I think that If He Had Been With Me and The Dead Romantics are probably going to be my top 10 of the year. And I read them both in February. So it's been a really good reading month for me, and I absolutely, so I'm sorry I didn't say what the book is about again, because I feel like everybody already knows about this book, has read about this book. But anyways, so Florence Day, the main character is Florence Day, and she is a ghostwriter for like this big romance author. Starting to get me choked up again just thinking about it. And he's like, wait, you met her 5 years ago? And then like the whole impact of that moment when she realizes what has been going on with the author. I can't get into it, but I really don't want to spoil it. So, but anyways, so Florence Day is a ghostwriter for this huge romance writer, but nobody really knows except for the author's agent. I think is the only person that knows. So nobody knows that she's ghostwriting, but this romance author has become a recluse. And so she's hired Florence Day to finish out this 4-book deal to finish out her series, or I don't know if they're series or interconnected, but it's a 4-book deal. So Florence Day has wrote the 3, and now she's on her last one. And she's going to meet, because now they have a new publisher, agent, editor, a new editor. So now she has a new editor. Like, I don't know what happened to the last editor, but the editor's been replaced and she has this new editor. She's going to meet with him to ask for an extension, but she's also kind of asking, can she just completely not write this cookie cutter happy ever after ending, because love is dead anyways, and she doesn't believe in happily ever afters, so she doesn't want to write it. And then she goes to meet this editor, and he's fun and he's sexy and he's mysterious and he's all of the things. And then, but one thing is, he is not backing down, and he doesn't want to give her an extension, and he doesn't, I think that he like, I don't remember where they fall in the extension, but he's like, no, you need to get this finished, and we're not going to change it, and we're in the business of happily ever after, so you need to continue with the happily ever after. And he doesn't budge on it. And then later on, she ends up running into him at like a party or a club or something, and then they end up kissing and making out or whatever, and then her dad dies, and then so she's got to go home, and she hasn't been home since, like, she left home when as soon as she was old enough to, because she can see ghosts. And so then she kind of became the black sheep of this town, because she helped solve a murder because she was talking to the victim because she could see ghosts. And so everybody thinks that she's crazy, and it became this big thing and the talk of the town, and nobody would let her live it down. So she left home and she just never came back. So now her dad has passed away. So now she has to come back to town for her dad's funeral. She ends up meeting this tall, handsome ghost, and it is her editor. And so she ends up falling in love with this ghost, and like they have this chemistry. And again, she thought romance was dead, so she didn't think that it was possible for her to fall in love with anybody. But what does it mean? What does it mean now that she's in love with a ghost? And it kind of brings her back to that person that she helped solve their murder, because apparently she had fallen in love with him. But there's like these deeper topics too, because then they're also talking about her most recent love and how he betrayed her and kind of was like milking her for information to then sell her story for this huge book deal for himself, and to come to find out that he never really cared about her, or he was not even who he said he was. So then she's dealing with that, and then she's dealing with the family drama of when she just left home and never came back. And apparently there was some underlying issues that she was not aware of with her family since she did that. And like her sister, she was really close with her, but to come find out her sister has resented her ever since then. And so there's all these different things that are going on, and they're all like equally emotional, hard-hitting topics. So this book is just like all together so deep, and it's not just this like fluffy romance. It has these like really hard-hitting issues going on, and these characters. The romance is so good. The romance is so good. And Ashley Poston, she can just, I don't think that I'm a romance reader, and then I read an Ashley Poston book, and I've only read one Abby Jimenez, but it hits me like that. It's like so much more going on, and it gets you so emotional and so invested in the romance, so invested in the characters, and there's much more going on than just the actual romance. But the romance is felt. It's not like when I read some of these other romance books and I don't feel the romance. Like, you're telling me there's a romance, you're telling me that there's this chemistry or this attraction or this whatever going on, but I don't feel it. You're just telling me about it. Like these books, like with the 7 Year Slip, and even with this one, the Dead Romantics, you feel it. It's like undeniable that you feel it. You're completely invested and you're all in it. It completely takes control of your feelings, and you're like so invested and wondering, oh my God, how is this going to work out? There's no way that this is going to work out. How could it ever? And so you're like so emotionally invested in realizing that if it doesn't work out, you're going to be absolutely crushed, and you didn't even realize that you were that invested. So that's how that book has got me right now. So that's where I'm at right now. This is my reading wrap up, not my reading wrap up, my reading update, because I'm not done yet, but that's where I stand so far. I'm having a freaking amazing reading month. Like this one was it took me a while to get through this one, and then these 3 I zoomed through and I was loving them so far. Sorry about that. So the books that I have left on my TBR for February are As Long as the Lemon Tree Grow, As Long as the Lemon Trees Grow by this author, Walhalla by Nikki May. These are the 2 that I have left on my TBR because I read other books instead. These are the ones I'm supposed to be getting through. Onyx Storm was my new release that I bought at the end of January and started it, and I've kind of been at a standstill with that one and I haven't continued. So I'm still getting through this one. And then the book that I have currently picked up and started reading. Oh no, my bookmark just fell out. That sucks. I will say I'm at a really sad part in the book. I'm only on chapter 7, and there has already been a really sad death in the book. I'm like, oh man, this book is gonna destroy me too. The book that I have currently started, instead of finishing this or reading the 2 books that I have left on my February TBR with only a week left of February, instead of doing that, I started When the Moon Hatched by Sarah A. Parker. Whenever I see this, Sarah A. Parker, I always think Sarah Jessica Parker. No, that's not right. I have started When the Moon Hatched. I think I'm on chapter 7. My bookmark just fell out, but I'm pretty sure I'm somewhere around there. So page like 55-ish. This is a chunky girl. This is a big book. I don't know if it's because she's so short. I think she's like shorter than a normal paperback. Yeah, so I don't know if it's because she's so short, but she is a chunky girl. I think we're at like 700 pages. Yeah, about. So I don't know when I'm going to finish that, but this is the one I've started. Maybe I will put it aside and finish these 2 first so that I can actually go through with my TBR and then come back to this. I don't really know, but that's where I'm left. So these are the books that I'm working with. So Onyx Storm, As Long as the Lemon Trees Grow, Walhalla, and When the Moon Hatched. I definitely am not going to finish all of these. If I stick with When the Moon Hatched, I probably won't even finish one more book for the month of February. But these are where I stand on, and we will see. I will update you later on by the end of the month on where I got, and turn this video into a reading wrap up. Just as of right now, I'm just kind of going. I just wanted to check in as I was going, but I will be back to update you with my final reading wrap up for February. I have a feeling that this is going to be it, and I'm just going to like make it halfway through this one, but hopefully I'm wrong, and hopefully I get through more. But so see you in the next update. It's snowing. It's snowing. So we don't really ever get snow. We get like maybe one day in like late January of snow, and that's it. And last night I got a good amount, and then it's coming down again. Shoot, it's cold. Can't really see it coming down. Oh, there you go. Yeah. wanted to do a little reading update because we have a snow day today. So schools are closed actually today and tomorrow for a snow day. So I wanted to get some reading done. We went out to play in the snow a little bit, but Grayson wasn't having it. And then the snow was like really powdery, so I couldn't actually get it to stick together to try to build a snowman. So it was nice to look at, and we tried to go out and play with it, but it was really just a snowball fight. And then Grayson was really cranky, so then we came back in. I've been doing a little bit of editing for book videos that are from like before the end of the year that are so past due that I don't know if I still want to post them, but regardless, I'm editing them. And then I did get some reading done. So I'm about, I want to say like halfway through, a little bit more than halfway through. I'm on page 385 out of 690. Yeah, so I'm a little bit more than halfway through. I just started chapter 47 today and I'm really liking it. I will say, I don't know if it's the dragons that make me feel this way because I'm reading the physical copy and I'm listening to audiobook. So I listen to the audiobook like when I'm cleaning or cooking dinner or at the gym or driving. But then besides that, if I have time to sit down, then I read the physical book. I feel like whenever I listen to audiobooks, if it's like fantasy or suspense, it ends up not being a good idea for me to listen to the audiobook because I feel like I actually miss so much of it because I'm not good at paying attention to just listening to something. I need like something to focus on visually or I kind of just zone out. So I'm afraid that I'm missing stuff since when I'm listening to this one on audio, but I'm still listening to it on audio when I'm driving and at the gym. So I'm on chapter 47 and I mean, like, so there's mention of dragons. There's like been parts in the story where the dragons are in the story, but I feel like it's not a very large part of the story, at least not so far in the half part that I've gotten through. I mean, there's one scene where it was like a diary entry and she's describing how a dragon was killed, I believe, but all of that to say, not to ramble on and on, but I don't feel like there's been a heavy presence of dragons so far, but regardless, I was just mentioning that this story is kind of giving me, like at first it gave me Throne of Glass. It's like this electric wire just like blowing in the wind. Or maybe it's like the internet line. Either way, I didn't even know it was that windy outside. What was I saying? Man, I can't remember what. Oh, at first it was giving me Throne of Glass vibes just because she's like this assassin, but it's kind of like, I don't know, it's kind of like a secret identity, or she's kind of a secret, or I don't know. She's not like out in the open about her identity, who she is, or even like a member of society really, but she's like this assassin and she's apparently a really good assassin, that she's a kick-ass, that she can like take on a man much bigger than her with ease, and she's pretty confident about it too. Like the way her inner dialogue works, that she's like, oh, I'm gonna be killing that guy later, whatever. So it's not like she even stresses about if it's against a man or not, or how big the man is. So she's pretty confident in her fighting abilities and her assassinating ability. I don't even know how to say that. Assassination skill? I don't know. Assassinating skills? Regardless, she's pretty confident that she can easily kill these men. So since it comes with ease to her, I would think that she's pretty good at it. But so I think that part was kind of giving me the vibes. But then when we like meet Khan later on, and like just the whole, not necessarily saying that the plot matches or that the details match, it's just the vibe that I get. But like when they're talking about battling for her and different titles and the different customs, it was making me think of like the Dothraki. So it was giving me Game of Thrones vibes, but specifically Daenerys and Khal Drogo. I can't pronounce it. It was giving me those vibes between Rave and Khan, their chemistry, and then them together is what makes me think of Game of Thrones with Daenerys and Khal Drogo, and the dragons, and especially when he goes to battle for her, there's this translator, so that kind of makes me think Game of Thrones too, is when she was like constantly translating for Daenerys. But when he goes to battle for her and she has a translator telling her what's happening, and she said, well, he's handing over your title so that no matter what happens, if he doesn't make it, that you would still get his title so that nobody could claim you and you could walk away from this for free. You could walk away from this free. For him to do that means that he has the most respect for you. He respects you in higher regards than he respects himself. And so like just their customs and kind of like how old fashioned it was and how they kind of treat women. And then the rituals that show respect, or the rituals that show like when they're fighting and battling and stuff, all of that kind of made me think of the Dothraki and gave me that kind of vibe of Game of Thrones. It makes me want to watch it again because that storyline was my favorite part of Game of Thrones. So I'm a little bit more than halfway through. I'm really liking it, and it's just giving me a little bit of Throne of Glass, Game of Thrones vibes. Not necessarily saying that it's similar in plot or anything like that. Not saying that whatsoever. Just it's giving me those like kind of feels and those vibes. So I'm loving it. I'm loving it so far. And I can't really attest for Throne of Glass because I think I've only read like maybe a quarter of the way through the first book. But so I can't really attest to that. It is definitely giving me Game of Thrones vibes with Khaleesi. Daenerys. Well, that is the only update that I have for reading, and I am gonna get back to editing some videos while I still can, because I'm trying to maximize as much of this snow day as I possibly can. And Grayson's taking a nap right now too, so he's not upset and ornery and cranky pants right now. That is what I am headed to do. I will be back once I have another update, although I'm making pretty good progress in this. My audiobook though is through Hoopla, so I think it is due back in a couple of days. It was mostly for when I go to the gym, and now that we have all this snow, I don't know if I'm gonna be going to the gym in the next couple of days. Kind of depends on the roads, or if I even need the audiobook. But anyways, I'm rambling. I thought this was gonna take me forever to get through because it's such a big book, but I think that having the audiobook is helping motivate me to push through it, because when I'm listening to it at the gym and then like I go to turn it off, like I'm intrigued and it's wanting me to keep going. So it's like pushing me forward. So I think that's what helps motivate me to get through this big girl. All right, that's it for sure. I'll be back. Just a tiny reading update. I got maybe a couple more hours through, or a couple more chapters in When the Moon Hatched. I've been listening to it when I go to the gym. Not a couple more hours, it was like an hour at the gym, but it was a couple more chapters. I feel like I'm missing out on a lot when I listen to it at the gym because I'm not giving it all my attention when I'm at the gym because I'm trying to like focus on what I'm working out and the machine that I'm trying to get to and seeing how many people are on it or whatever. So I'm like preoccupied or distracted. And I feel like I'm not giving it the attention that I need to fully pay attention to what's going on. But I am on chapter 52 now. And so there are dual timelines. So you're reading like this diary entry and it doesn't say like how far back it is. It just says like age 18 phases, and that's like 5,039 phases after stone. And I don't quite know what the other phases are. I'm guessing 18 phases is maybe years, but I don't know. 20 phases, but I don't know about like that's 100,000, that's a million, right? After stone, I don't know what that means. I'm thinking I missed something on that, but there's two. So it took me a while to realize that there were two timelines because when it just says diary entry, I didn't know for sure whose diary entry that was. So I didn't know like if it was two timelines or just two POVs. I'm pretty sure it's dual timelines going on. But I don't want to say too much because I don't want to give anything away. But I am really enjoying it. I do feel like that I'm missing out on crucial parts. I do really enjoy the main female character and I love like how determined and how headstrong she is, how kind of cunning she is, and like her survival instincts. I really appreciate. I really like how bold, brave she is too. She's been through a lot, and a lot we don't quite know yet what she's been through. Like she doesn't know, so we only know what she knows, so we're trying to still figure it out with her. Apparently she's lost a lot of memory from the trauma that she's been through, and I guess like kind of in Fourth Wing when they have like these healers, so it's kind of similar to that where they have menders, and I guess like the menders can even, I don't know the laws of it or the rules or the guidelines because like some people die and they don't come back, but I guess that they can bring you back, I guess depending on maybe the type of death or the extent of the damage. But so I'm guessing like something like that has happened to our main character, and so maybe she has lost memory due to that. I don't really know how that goes. I know like, anyways, I don't want to give too much into it. There's a lot of intricate details to learn how not necessarily just the world is, but like how the different details of like how these healing powers or mending powers or whatever it is works out. So I'm not quite too knowledgeable on that yet, but I am very much liking the story. And again, I just keep thinking of Jason Momoa as Khal Drogo as Khan in this book. That's who I'm picturing. And yeah, it's been a good time so far. So I'm gonna continue to read, and I do this bad thing like when I'm leaving the gym to go get Grayson from the daycare. I'm just trying to hurry up and like get there in time before they close, that I kind of just like turn my phone off when I'm listening to the audiobook and put it in my pocket. And I've done it a couple times now, like I must tap something on the screen, and so it completely takes me off my chapter, but it takes me back. And so like I'm like having to re-listen and figure out where I'm at. So I'm thinking I'm on chapter 52, page 425, but I might be wrong because I wasn't quite sure how far I got. So that's where I'm going to start. Hopefully I'm not rereading it too much, but that is my plans. I'm just going to continue to read this. Yeah, we have a snow day again tomorrow. So actually I'm supposed to be writing a paper, so I might do that tomorrow and just getting as much reading as I can, but I need to edit some videos and I want to get some reading done for today, and then hopefully not be a procrastinator and write my paper tomorrow, because it's my birthday this weekend. So my fiance wants to take me to Nashville on Saturday, and I have a nail appointment on Saturday, and then my mom wants to come over on Sunday. So I won't be getting much reading done this weekend for my birthday. So hopefully I get some done now. while Grayson is napping. That is my intention. And it's just even the littlest things, like it's not even a big thing, but it still kind of like gets my heart racing a little bit. But that's just how into Con I am. So it says, thinking of going somewhere, Moonbeam. My head whips around, heart plopping into my guts at the sight of Con reclined in the booth, hair pulled back, loose bits hanging around his fiercely beautiful face. He's dressed in a black leather tunic that fits his frame like a second skin stitched together with a thick thread, and the lines accentuating the broad scope of his powerful chest. What little sleeves the garment has are cut off across his wide shoulders, his scarred arms crossed as he watches me from beneath an arched brow. I suck a breath into suddenly parched lungs, filling them with his molten scent that makes my heart rally. He coaxes, and I realize I've been sitting here staring at him, cheeks aflame, dry mouth empty of words, marinating in the stiff waves of tension undulating between us. It's like he stole my tongue. It's just like that. It's like that tension that you can feel between them. I dig it. I dig it. I'm liking it. I like Con. Just realized this thing has a hood and I never wear it. I'm having a bad hair day. Now they got my hood or veil, I feel more like Rafe. Just kidding. I've got all slumber, Con rumbles, and I swear his deep, raspy voice was designed by the creators themselves to disable me, to tamper with my insides, rearrange me into a mindless idiot the rest of my life, actually. So, like the deep, rumbly voice, that makes me think of Jason Momoa when his role in Game of Thrones. That's perfect for Con in this. That's like I feel like that was the muse for Con when she was writing it. So that's what I see in my head. And I think it's perfect. Is this hood doing any better for hiding my bad hair day? No, because like, I don't know why this hood is like accentuating how big my nose is. Okay, we don't want to do that either. I'd rather have bad hair than a big nose. I don't know, I've been using these heatless velvet, oh man, my page. Well, anyways, so I've been using these. I don't know if that's what's causing it or if it's the, just happens to be a coincidence, but I've been using these velvet heatless rollers overnight and putting them in my hair to kind of like have some sort of volume, and instead I just get really staticky hair. Like I feel like I have still no volume, nothing to my hair. It still looks limp, and then I'm just like super staticky. But I've only tried it twice, and I don't know how long I've had the static. I don't know if the two are related, but we're struggling with the hair today. Some things I think I'm just not understanding, like I'm reading the words or I'm hearing the words, but they're just not registering here. So this is one scene that I feel like I'm not understanding either So, I most certainly will, he says, and I roll my eyes, reaching for the fresh mug of mead Pyroc must have told him I'd asked for before feeding me this proverbial Sabersith, the untrustworthy asshole. I'm just wrapping my fingers around the mug when Khan's hand whips out, grips mine, flattens it against the table. In another swift motion, he has the sharpening tool poised against the linchpin, the rock in his other hand, and begins He has the sharpening tool poised against the linchpin, the rock in his other hand, and begins tapping it with shrill, tender hits that sweep a hush over the establishment. My brows rise, and I picture everyone looking toward our closed curtain booth as the pin slides free. Khan sets the tools down while I pull back my arm, cleave the iron free, then toss it through the... Khan sets the tools down while I pull back my arm, cleave the iron free, then toss it through the window, watching it splash into the loft. I close my eyes and I rub my wrists, tightening that mental sound snare on all the other clamorous clatter I have no interest in listening to right now, probably ever. Because, like, they're not even having a conversation about it. That just, like, happens out of nowhere. Right? So I guess he took, like, the pin out that's, like, dampening her powers or what she can hear, but it's just weird because I guess it wasn't clicking because there was like no lead up to it. Like, she's talking about how like attracted she is to him and what she thinks about his voice and stuff, and then all of a sudden that happened out of nowhere. It's like talking about how like his voice makes her insides feel a certain way or something like that, and then he's like, oh, are you giving me a compliment? And she's like, no, don't let it go to your head. And then all of a sudden that scene happened, so I wasn't quite understanding. Yes, so I guess that's what's going on, and maybe I just didn't understand it because it like came out of nowhere, talking about her this attraction towards him, and they had like this little tiny banter exchange, and then all of a sudden wham bam pin toss, and okay, maybe I just wasn't quite grasping that. I didn't think at first that the diary entries were Rave. I thought they were a different person, so that's why I didn't know if there's multiple timelines or if it's just multiple POVs, because I didn't really know what the timelines are, because the timelines like say the age and then it says phases after stone, but I didn't really understand what that meant. So I wasn't sure if there was multiple timelines, and I thought it was just a different person. And then the more I started reading them, they sounded like maybe they were Rave, and it was maybe like part of that past that she doesn't remember. But the reason why I thought that is because they keep looking for Rave's journal or her diary or whatever. So then I was like, oh, well, if they're looking for her diary, then the diary entries must be Rave, and it must just be like from previous when she doesn't know about that life, and maybe she had a different name, and maybe that was her. But then I finally looked in the back at the family tree. Here's the family tree. So here is Khan's mom. It goes to Khan, and then these are his siblings, but then these parents go to this sibling, so I don't know Khan's mom or who it goes to. So I guess I gotta just read more, but the journal entries say this name. I'm just like taking little guesses in the dark because, again, she doesn't know completely what has happened to her, and so we don't know, so we're trying to figure it out. And so I was just thinking that was it, since they're looking for her journal. Like, that was the big, I thought was the big clue, is that they're looking for her journal. I was like, oh, so all these journal entries must be her then. So then I guess it is a dual timeline. And then this like is really grossly descript. Discounted folk otherwise forced to live in the undercity, where the air is too thick, where there is no sun, and every slumber is a gamble on whether or not this is the last time you get woken, immobilized by a hushling squatting on your chest, gently slurping your brain through your nostrils. And this is why, to me, that she's a bad bitch, and I like her. I like when an author doesn't tell you, like, I know it sounds stupid because it's not a movie or a show or whatever, but it's like, don't tell me, show me. So don't tell me and describe, oh, well, people say this about her, people say this about her, she has this type of personality. Like, don't just tell me those things, like, prove it to me. And so this is like just another moment where she just feels like this bad bitch to me, that I really like her. But she said, If you are complicit with that, I say as the wind churns my hair into whipping tendrils of black, much of the light sponging away, then yes, I will find the courage to kill you, despite your smiling city, the strange chemistry between us, and the fact that you saved my life twice. So that's what I like about this, is that it doesn't just tell you, oh, she's a bad bitch because she has this reputation or people say this about her. It's like, no, the author makes you feel it, shows you in these moments that this person is who they are, and makes no apologies, but is who they are. Our stairs hold while the air continues to wrestle with our atmosphere, the silence thicker than water. I really like the way she uses her words too in the story. So our stairs hold while the air continues to wrestle with our atmosphere, the silence thicker than water. So much so that I think the establishment may have abruptly emptied. The strange. So I like that. I like the way that her writing is very atmospheric, so I dig that too. The strange chemistry, you say, he asked, the intensity of his gaze sizzling a hole in my soul that makes it hard to breathe. I shrug. He reaches across the table, fingers brushing against mine as he grabs a hold of the mug. I let my own hand loosen, and he brings the vessel to his lips, drawing from the opposite side while he studies me over the rim. The ball in his throat rolls. Again. He sets the drink down with a heavy thump. It has taken many phases to secure the burn and build an armada almost strong to rival my kin. So I like how she builds these characters by showing you, not just telling you. So I'm really into that. And I really like how atmospheric her writing is and the way she uses words to build the scene, to build the emotions that the scene is supposed to elicit from you. Yeah. That's all I had to say. I love it. Okay, so she said, so she's giving back his Malmer, and he said that was not Lent rave, and the words land slow and hard, lacking the softness of his previous sentence, casting my skin in little goosebumps. I shove my hand closer to his chest. This means things I can't give you. He watches me with the honed regard of someone inching toward a wild dragon, head tilting. What do you think I want? I break from his stare and look through the window, seeing a tumor of gray clouds rolling toward the bay, light scribbling across the surface to the tune of crackling thunder. A warm heart, offspring to carry on his heritage, at the very least, someone who gets along with his swaggering sister. I swallow, refusing to meet his gaze as I settle the Malmer on the table and stand shouldering my satchel. I edge from the booth and push free of the fluttering curtains around him. Sometimes words just feel inadequate. I love that. Around him, sometimes words just feel inadequate. I like that. I like that a lot. So I try not to break my spines of my book. It's a big deal to me. So I did the thing where you relax your spine, where you like take it page by page to relax it. But this book is so chunky that even though I relaxed it and I put that little arch in it and I don't bend it all the way open, it's not quite cracked, but you can't see because the lighting is so bad, but it's oh, there you see it. It's like stress fractured now. You see, she's just such a big girl. She can't help it. Okay, so I've been reading for an hour, so I can feel my contacts are getting dry, getting a little tired. So I'm gonna take a break, go drink some water, put some drops in my eyes, maybe drink a coffee. I'm feeling kind of not laggy. What's the word for a human being that's lagging? I'm feeling a little sluggish. So water, drops, coffee, and then I'll continue my reading with Grayson while he watches Trolls, but I won't take you with me. I will spare you from having to watch Trolls with Grayson, and be back when I have another update. I'm on page 448 out of 690, so I have 242 pages left. So I am not going to finish that tonight because I am a slow reader. But I'm gonna still do some more reading. I'll let you know. What time is it?
It's 4:45.
Hi, baby. What's wrong? Can you say hi?
Hi.
Say hi.
Yes.
You gonna go watch Trolls?
What was that?
Did you take a nap?
I'm taking that.
No, you didn't. You were in there talking the whole time. You didn't take a nap. Mwah. Okay, I love you. You want to see yourself? Hold on. I'll hold you up. Hooah! Is that Grayson?
Listen.
Say hi, Grayson.
Listen. Abby's.
Hi, Peas. Hi, Peas. You got Peas? Where's Peas?
Fees.
Peas. Is that your best friend?
Listen.
Your best friend. You're so smart. I love you. You want to go watch Trolls? Oh, there's your Peas. Show
Oh,
Peas the
yes.
camera. Look. Yeah, show Peas. There's Peas.
She said blah 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 blah. She said blah 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 blah. She said.